What's going on, everybody? This is Tim Lowe with Signature Real Estate Group. I wanted to bring somebody to your attention today. This is Cory Jones with Jones Wilson Injury Law. And now Cory has been doing personal injury in the Valley for 27 years. Is that right, Cory?
That's right, 27.
So he's got a little knowledge on what's going on with the court systems during the pandemic. All the fun stuff. I mean, we've all been put on hold one way or another, and the courts were no exception to that rule. So we're just going to have some fun talking about just the basics and how things are going and where they might go in the future, which maybe we don't know that completely yet, but let's just have some fun here. So, Cory, what's the latest and greatest, man? What's going on with the courts?
What's going on with the courts is there's nothing going on with the courts. Things are at a standstill right now, and the trials are continued indefinitely. In fact, the courts have gone so far with the issue as they have extended the statute of limitations, and we still don't even know if that's going to hold up. But the statute of limitations is statutory. The other things that we do are rule-based, which, and if you're a lawyer, you understand the distinction, but a statute, that's the law. We can't do much about that. That's something the legislature passed, and if you have an accident, you have 2 years from the date of that accident to either resolve it or file a lawsuit. Because of the pandemic, they've extended that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they've extended that. So arguably, the statute of limitations doesn't even apply right now. So because of that, everyone's just going, just breathing a collective sigh of relief, like, okay, well, I guess we're okay. We can just sit on it. I don't know any lawyers who actually have the guts to let the statute pass, because you can still file a lawsuit. You can still, electronically file a lawsuit and, preserve the statute of limitations.
Yeah.
And I think most professionals in my field are not comfortable extending, ignoring the statute of limitations, even though the governor has said, it's extended. But all the other deadlines, which are rule-based, those have been extended. And as a result, everyone has just kind of sat back and said, well, let's wait till this, wait this out till it's over. And that includes depositions, court appearances, everything. Everything is on hold. So that's why I'm sitting here in my office wearing shorts today, because there's...
Oh, that's a bonus?
Yeah, that has been the one bonus. Yeah, I get to wear shorts to the office pretty much every day. So
everything's done by Zoom call for, I'm sure all of the people that you've been meeting with, all done by Zoom, and it's probably not in the office. But are you guys open at your office to be able to bring people in and still conduct?
Yeah, we have been. We were one of the businesses that were deemed essential because cases still were ongoing, and people needed, constitutionally, people need their legal rights addressed. So we were still an essential business. We were not allowed to have clients in the office for a while. Most clients still don't want to come into the office, but because of the wonders of technology, they've allowed us to notarize things remotely. They've allowed us to, we get a lot of clients just scanning and emailing us documents. So I mentioned to you earlier, I settled a case just last week. I was actually a really pretty good settlement. And I hate this, but I've never even met my client. I've talked to her on the phone. We email all the time, but I've never met her in person. And I hope that doesn't become the new norm. But for right now, that is the norm.
I guess the most important part of it, though, is business is able to go forward. Everybody's adapted as needed. But most of us are more comfortable doing that face-to-face, not just as a professional, but as a client. A lot of people feel more comfortable knowing that they can see you and say, hey, this is my feelings right now. I think it's just going to take some time for us all to, I guess, get used to this kind of interaction, but probably be part of the norm.
Yeah, and face-to-face is great because when I'm giving clients either bad news or good news, I want to do that in person. You know, if a case goes south or the client's expectations are just completely unrealistic, I want to do that in person so I can see them face to face. And when I'm handing somebody a big check, I want to do that face to face. I don't want to go to the bank and do a wire transfer or what. You know, that's why I do this. I want to help people, and I love handing somebody that check and having them go, wow, you know, thank you. It's so fun to do that. And yeah, it's not a thing right now. So.
No, I understand. Well, getting back to the cases, you know, all this is slowed down. The courts are definitely in their pause moment, and that's a whole different issue that we could get on in a minute as far as how they're going to be able to pick things back up. But the insurance companies, as we were talking about before, Cory and I had a conversation about this, the insurance companies are not doing a lot of, well, they're not having to pay out a lot or doing a lot of dragged out court cases because of the pandemic. So there hasn't been a lot of accidents for them to have to settle. So they're just collecting all these premiums. So right now it's a good time for them to settle out on cases that they normally wouldn't settle out with. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah, and this happens periodically. You get towards the end of the year, and if it's been a good year for the insurance company financially, you can tell because all of a sudden it's a fire sale. They want to get rid of everything in November and December because they want to clear out their books, and they're going to expense it. They're like, let's expense it this year. So they'll settle a bunch of cases. And that has been the case the entire time the pandemic's been going on. You might have seen commercials on TV where insurance companies tell you that they're giving you back some of your premium because they aren't paying out anything. And a lot of the big companies like, at least in the auto field, like Allstate, State Farm, Farmers, Geico, they all have captive firms where all the employees are, all the lawyers are employees of Geico or employees of Allstate. And so they just handle all the cases that they get sent. They're not, you know, so there are no true legal fees, but because nothing's going on right now, a lot of those guys have been let go because there's no litigation. So their expenses are going down even more because of that. And so, yeah, right now, surprisingly, it has had an interesting effect. People thought that the insurance companies would use the pandemic to hold back money.
Yeah.
But I think they're seeing the writing, and they did it first. For the first couple of weeks, you could sense that they were going, yeah, it's pandemic, sorry, you know.
Yeah.
And now I think they started looking at the big picture and realized we're going to have a lot of money at the end of the year. We need to get rid of these claims. We need to expense these out. Yeah. So they have been settling these, and we've actually got some great settlements for our clients over the last 2 or 3 months. It's been really kind of an interesting dynamic.
It's a crazy world at the moment. But getting back to the courts now. So Cory and I had a conversation about what the courts are going to do. And I guess this is something that's not only the state of Nevada is going to have to keep an eye on, but we're all going to be looking at each state, seeing how they handle it, even federally. How are they trying to push forward with getting people back into court? And you were just talking about how do you position the jury and you know, the people on the plaintiff side, the defendant side. How do you get all those people in a room and be able to actually go forward with the proceeding?
Yeah. And I think most of the judges are realizing that social distancing in a jury trial situation just isn't realistic. It's just not realistic. And to impanel a jury, you can't really force someone to show up for jury duty during a pandemic. You can't if I can't subpoena a witness, how can I subpoena, I give a summons to a juror to show up?
Yeah.
So you can't do it.
Yeah.
So jury trials are on hold, and there's already a backlog, and then you put the pandemic on top of the existing backlog, and it's going to be years. If you file a case now, it's going to be years, 2023 maybe, before you get a trial date. And I think it'll go beyond that to even get to trial. So it's going to be an interesting world to see how we even get back to trial. And I mentioned to you, some of the judges kind of set off the record, they don't see how we can have a jury trial until we have a vaccine for this. Until there's a vaccine, how do we even do this?
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how things go forward, brother. I appreciate you just jumping on with me and sharing some of this information.
Hey, no worries.
Man, it's interesting stuff. Most people are sitting there going, well, I didn't think about the courts. That's crazy. So, just good information for them to have. But at the same time, they need to know that they can go out and still, if something happens to them, they get into an accident, by all means, call Cory. Cory's, what'd you say? It's you guys 1522 West Warm Springs, right?
That's right. Yeah, Warm Springs and Stephanie. Yeah, in Henderson.
And I'll have up Cory's information, but what number do you want them to call if they need to get a hold of you?
702-405-6000.
Okay. Well, great, brother. Well, hopefully that's enough information for people for now. And if you guys need any help, and I'm sure if there's another field, not just personal injury, that Cory can at least turn you the right direction if you need another attorney for a different field, if he can't handle it. So just make sure to reach out to Cory. And so for now, thanks again, Cory, and everybody, we'll talk to you sooner than later. Okay.
Thanks, Tim. Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.